Hey there, word nerds and language enthusiasts. Welcome to our channel. Today we're diving into the fascinating world of English idioms. You know, those quirky phrases we use that don't always make sense literally, like spill the beans or piece of cake. Have you ever stopped to wonder where these sayings come from? Why we describe feeling embarrassed as being caught red-handed? It turns out these idioms often have surprisingly interesting and sometimes downright bizarre historical roots. We're going to unearth the origins of some of the most common English idioms, and let me tell you, you'll never look at a red herring or a cold shoulder the same way again. So buckle up, grab your metaphorical magnifying glass, and let's get cracking. Let's kick things off with caught red-handed. Now, we all know this one means to be caught in the act of doing something wrong, but where does it come from? It actually harks back to Old English law. Back then, if you were accused of, say, poaching an animal, you'd better hope you weren't caught with its blood on your hands. Literally, yep, if you were caught with the evidence staining your very hands, well, that was pretty much game over. The red obviously refers to blood, and handed, well, that one's pretty self-explanatory. So next time you use this idiom, picture a medieval poacher covered in crimson evidence, and you'll really capture the essence. Okay, next up we have a phrase that perfectly encapsulates sudden explosive anger. Fly off the handle. We've all been there, right? That moment when you just lose your cool. But why fly off the handle? What handle are we talking about? Well, this idiom takes us back to the 1800s, a time when axe making wasn't always the most, shall we say, reliable craft. Imagine swinging an axe, putting your back into it, only to have the axe head go flying off the handle. Not only is it dangerous, but it's also incredibly frustrating. Hence, the association with a sudden loss of temper. All right, let's talk about social awkwardness and subtle rejection with the idiom giving someone the cold shoulder. You know the feeling that icy silence, the averted gaze, the general air of I'd rather be anywhere but here. But what's the deal with the cold shoulder? This one takes us back to medieval times where hospitality was a big deal. Now it was considered rude to just outright tell a guest to leave. So, what did they do? They'd serve them a cold shoulder of meat. Yep, you guessed it, a leftover, cold and frankly unappetizing piece of meat from the shoulder of an animal. It was a polite way of saying, okay, time to wrap it up, party's over. Ever been told to go the whole 9 yards? It means to give something your all, to hold nothing back. But what's the significance of 9 yards? Why not 7 or 12? This one has been debated for years, but one popular theory points to World War II fighter pilots. These pilots had 9 yards of ammunition belts loaded into their planes' machine guns. So if they used up all their ammunition in a dogfight, they were truly going the whole 9 yards. It paints a vivid picture of total commitment, doesn't it? Okay, this next one is a bit morbid, but hey, idioms don't shy away from the realities of life and death. Kick the bucket means to die, but its origins are debated. One theory takes us back to, well, executions. Imagine a condemned person standing on an overturned bucket. To carry out the sentence, the executioner would kick the bucket away, leaving the person to, well, you know, it's a grim image, but it illustrates the finality of the phrase. Time for a slightly more light-hearted idiom. Let the cat out of the bag. We use it to describe accidentally revealing a secret, but why a cat? And why a bag? Well, this one takes us back to the marketplace, where trickery was sometimes afoot. Imagine a shady seller trying to pass off a common cat as a more valuable piglet. They'd stuff the unsuspecting feline into a bag and try to sell it to an unwitting customer. But if the cat managed to escape, well, the jig was up, the secret was out, and the seller was exposed. Let's talk about relaxation and letting go of inhibitions with the idiom, let your hair down. It conjures up images of, well, literally letting your hair down after a long day. And that's not too far off from its historical roots. Back in medieval times, aristocratic women were expected to keep their hair up in elaborate styles in public. It was a sign of decorum and status. But at home, they could finally relax and let their hair down, both literally and figuratively. This idiom, mad as a hatter, might conjure up images of the Cheshire Cat's grinning companion in Alice in Wonderland. But the origin of this phrase is a tad darker and rooted in a rather unfortunate reality of 17th century hat making. You see, back then, hatters used mercury, a highly toxic substance, in the hat making process. Prolonged exposure to mercury led to mercury poisoning, which caused a range of neurological symptoms, including tremors, mood swings, and erratic behavior. So the phrase "mad as a hatter" became a way to describe someone who was acting, well, a little crazy. Okay, mystery fans, this one's for you. Red herring. It refers to a misleading clue, something meant to throw you off track. But why a red herring? What did herrings ever do to deserve this? Well, this idiom takes us back to the world of scent and hunting. Apparently, smoked herrings, which have a pungent smell, were used to train hunting dogs. They'd drag these smelly fish across the trail to distract the dogs and test their ability to stay focused on the target scent. Ever met someone who just rubs you the wrong way? It means they irritate you, annoy you, just get under your skin. But what's the wrong way to rub someone? This idiom takes us back to colonial America and the care of hardwood floors. Back then, homeowners would have their servants rub those floors with a vengeance to keep them shiny. But there was a right way and a wrong way to do it. Rubbing against the grain of the wood would create unsightly streaks, which you can imagine would really annoy the homeowner. We all have secrets, right? Things we'd rather keep hidden. That's where the idiom "skeleton in the closet" comes in. It refers to a secret that's embarrassing, scandalous, or potentially damaging if revealed. But why a skeleton? And why a closet? Well, this one is a bit macabre. Before the UK passed its Anatomy Act in 1832, medical schools relied on a rather grim source for skeletons: grave robbers. These resurrection men would procure bodies for dissection, and to avoid getting caught, medical schools would often hide these skeletons in closets. Need information you can trust? We often say we want it straight from the horse's mouth. It means getting it from the most reliable source, the one who knows for sure. But why a horse? What's so special about their mouths? Well, this idiom takes us back to the world of, you guessed it, horses. To determine a horse's age, you'd examine its teeth. So if you wanted to know a horse's real age, you'd go straight to the horse's mouth and have a look for yourself. And there you have it, 12 common English idioms and their fascinating origins. Who knew that everyday phrases could have such colourful and sometimes bizarre backstories? From medieval butchers to axe-wielding folks with anger management issues, these idioms offer a glimpse into the history of the English language and the people who shaped it. If you enjoyed this journey into the quirky world of idioms, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. It really helps us out. And if you're hungry for more linguistic adventures, be sure to subscribe to our channel for more videos on language, history, and all things fascinating. Until next time, keep those brains buzzing and those idioms flowing.